Sarah had always been the quiet one in her group of friends, content to listen as the others talked and laughed around her. There were 5 of them: Emily, Jake, Lila, Max, and her. They'd been inseparable since the 1st grade, a tight-knit circle in a small town where nothing ever happened. Until the day Emily didn't show up for school. At first, it wasn't anything to worry about. "She must be sick," Jake had said with a shrug. But when Sarah texted Emily that night, there was no response. Her calls went straight to voicemail. The next day, Emily's desk was empty again. By the end of the week, it was as if Emily had never existed at all. Ara asked the others if they had heard from Emily, but they just stared at her blankly. "Who's Emily?" Lila asked, her brow furrowing in confusion. Sarah's heart sank. She checked her phone, but all the messages and photos of Emily had disappeared. Her social media was gone too. It was like she had been erased. The same thing happened to Jake a few days later. One moment he was joking around with Max, and the next he was just gone. His desk was empty, his belongings vanished. Sarah's panic grew as she realized that no one else seemed to notice. She brought it up with Lila and Max, but they looked at her like she was crazy. "You're imagining things," Lila said dismissively. "Jake who?" Max asked with a puzzled expression. Sarah's world started to crumble. She could feel herself unraveling as the days passed. She stopped sleeping, afraid that if she closed her eyes, another friend would disappear. She clung to Lila and Max, terrified of being left alone. Then, one morning, Sarah came to school and saw that Lila's seat was empty. She ran to Max, but his face was blank, his eyes vacant. "Who's Lila?" he asked. It was just the 2 of them now. Sarah tried desperately to stay close to Max, but she could feel him slipping away too. His texts became less frequent, his presence at school more sporadic. Until one day, he was simply gone. Sarah was alone. She walked through the hallways, the echoes of laughter and conversations from her friends haunting her. She screamed their names, begged someone to remember, but no one did. No one could. As Sarah sat in the empty lunchroom, she realized with chilling clarity that she was next. She could feel herself fading, becoming nothing more than a memory that no one would recall.